What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Those of you who are new, please consider subscribing. We come out with pretty much weekly RC content, whether it's racing, how-tos, helpful tips, just discussion, kind of trying to do it all over here. Yeah, you clicked on this video for a reason, obviously. You're looking to get into RC racing. This video is basically going to be about my story, how I got into RC racing, what vehicles you should start off with, and yeah, moving forward from there. So hope you all enjoy, consider subscribing, and enjoy the video, guys. Now, before I jump into anything, full disclosure, my name is Aaron Lasher. I am an off-road RC racer. So this video is only going to touch on based off of my own experience, and obviously I'm an off-road racer, so if you guys are more into like on-road or anything like that, I don't know if this video is going to help you that much, but you can kind of take what I have to say and kind of implement it into the kind of racing that you're trying to do. But yeah, obviously being an off-road, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So before we get into vehicle discussion, because this is going to touch just the bare bones basics, judging on what your budget is and how into it you really are and want to take it, we have a couple options when it comes to remote and receiver options. Say you are more of like a basher type, your whole family has like some Traxxas vehicles and you want to, say, go to a club race and either race what you have or kind of just try it and see if you actually want to get more into it. So you may, obviously, this may look familiar to a lot of you that already own stuff like this and were thinking about racing. This is your basic, Traxxas TQ remote and receiver setup for, your basic ready-to-run Traxxas Slash or something like that. Obviously, I'm sure everybody have seen one of these. This is your basic RTR remote, and now, obviously very limited on features and stuff like that. If you're willing just to go out to a track and try it out to see if you're going to be into it or not, it obviously comes with, as far as I know, most of the Traxxas vehicles, if not all. So yeah, you can kind of get something on a lower scale. You're not going to have the adjustability, same thing as the cars. It's not going to be as adjustable as the kit is or anything of that nature, but it will get your feet wet into racing, and you can kind of figure out from there if you're trying to expand the racing that you're doing and you actually want to build a kit and get into tuning and all of that stuff. Obviously, your second option, which this is actually the remote that I'm still actively on. This is the Spectrum DX5C. Still a entry-level good remote. I would say I'm still on this. Obviously, I'm pretty due for an upgrade. I probably will be parting ways with this coming this year, but I've raced on it now for the last 2 years, and I really don't think it's one of those things that's totally like holding my driving back. You can actually store up to, I believe, 40 models in this thing. And there's many options. There's a Fly Sky. There's many cheaper options that will still give you the full tuning and everything, and most of the features that all of the really high-end remotes will give you. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong at this price point. Like I said, if it's something, if you're doing more than just getting your feet wet, and this is definitely something you want to do, I highly recommend something like this because, say, I think it was like $250, comes with a receiver as well. So if you had like one vehicle, which we're going to get into what vehicle you should have, but if you were going to do it, and the way I did it was I did get the remote because I needed the adjustability and I wanted one remote to now store like 13 cars I own. but I started out with just one. And yeah, I got that remote and I knew I wanted to get into the hobby. I knew after joining the club that this was something that I wanted to do, and I wanted to take it up to a more regional type level and beyond. So that's what I started out with, remote wise. Like I said, get something that stores a bunch of models. If you're definitely, after you get your feet wet a little bit, you know it's something you want to do, get a good remote. Like I said, if your budget allows, I mean, Futaba, Senwa, all those high-end ones, that's what I'll be switching to. But like I said, I wasn't there at the time. I still run this to this day. It does everything I need it to do. And yeah, I don't think it will necessarily hold you back. So a good option, especially if you don't want to totally break the bank and you're more focused on your actual cars that you're getting into racing and trying to expand your growth in the hobby. So that's it for remotes. All right, so my little story here. So I had raced dirt bikes, motocross, but mainly in the woods, primarily for my entire life since I was about 3 years old. So with that being said, I ended up actually turning pro and racing ATVs for the last 4 or so years, and just locally, nothing too crazy. But you know, as I've gotten older, responsibilities got a little higher. Just became known that it was going to come to an end sooner than later. Unfortunately, that's pretty much what ended up happening. So from there, I knew that I needed to kind of scratch the itch somehow. I was actually, I run an auto detailing and beyond type auto works business at this point, full time. And so I do that for a living and was racing on the side. So I was at a customer's house one day, and now, ironically enough, a week prior, this used to be just a closet at the time, and I had all my RC stuff in here, you know, behind clothes and stuff like that, just kind of tucked away in a corner for a rainy day. I never really messed around with it. I had a Traxxas Rustler. I had a short course truck that was like a low C triple X. And then I think I had like a mini Slash. Those are the 3 vehicles that I've ever owned RC related. And I dug them out, started messing around with them. I fixed up some stuff. I actually found a local hobby shop by me that I wasn't aware of. Kind of was like, all right, let me kind of get back into this. Kind of was going in, doing a bunch of different stuff, just like upgrading like VXL parts for the brush stuff on the Rustler, like doing all sorts of stuff. And they were primarily like a Traxxas dealer. So fast forward to the date of, I don't even know when, was at my customer's house, and he comes running out of the garage as I'm doing his truck, and he's like, oh, my RC parts are here. So I was like, wait, you're in RC too? I was like, I literally just dug up all my stuff like the other day. So ironically enough, longest story short, he was friends, or his cousin, I forget however it went, family member of some sort, was actually the president of a local RC club in my area. So I was clueless about it. And yeah, hence where all my Dirt Runners content now on YouTube comes from. That's how I ended up there. I ended up getting in with my local club. I basically was able to find their website and Facebook pages and stuff like that. So I jumped on there and got their race schedule. And literally, I've always followed RC, like the professional scene and stuff like that. Not majorly, but I have followed it. I knew what it entailed. I knew what it was about. But younger me, I didn't have the money or a ride to go to the RC races or anything like that. And I didn't honestly think there was anything like that even around here. I grew up, I had 2 little RC tracks on the side of my house growing up. We would mess around with some friends. And, you know, that kind of spiraled into getting into the club racing ordeal. So Yeah, it was really cool. I literally showed up with a triple X short course truck, and I brought the Rustler, and I was told that I can run that in the open oval. So yeah, from there, kind of spiraled this whole effect of where I'm at today with, I guess, my RC career. Um, yeah, pretty cool to think about it, and it really wasn't that long ago. And now, as you can see behind me, I don't know how much of it you can see or not, but I have a problem now. To say the least, I think we all do. So, moral of the story is, I think the best way to get into racing is kind of communicate. So if you have a local hobby shop or anything like that, go in there, talk to people, meet people, stuff like that. And maybe you're fortunate enough to have a hobby shop that actually has a racetrack at it. That's the best place to do it. You go into anything like that, or just a private club, or however, you start racing with these guys, you make friends, you meet people, and then from there, basically, like, as far as how it went for me, is you find out about all these other tracks that honestly I would have never known about if I didn't kind of open my mouth and ask these questions and stuff like that. So I think, like, the number one thing, honestly, for everybody is to, they say this, squeaky wheel gets the grease, or however it goes. It's kind of true. I feel like if you actually put yourself out there and actually ask the questions and stuff like that you want to know, you'll get to where you want to be. So I think the number one thing for this video is start club racing. Whether it's at your hobby shop, whether it's at a local club, go to the club events. You'll end up making friends in no time. I mean, we're all just grown up kids. And then, yeah, from there, you just find out about all these other things, and just all depends on how far you actually want to take all of this, So yeah, that's kind of my little story there. And, yeah, how I got into it. And I feel like that's how most people get into it, when you don't really have at least anybody around you. I mean, it's, in the club, the club races in general are generally like a family type atmosphere. So maybe your dad or something grew up racing, and maybe that's how you got into it. Everybody's different, but that's my story on how I got into it. And then we'll get into what vehicles I think would be best for you guys to start out with if it is your first time. Just like that. The vehicle that I started with, of course, what I would have to recommend the most is a two-wheel drive short course truck. Now, these were really popular for my area. Yeah, I feel like depending on, of course, like, depending on your club or hobby shop or anywhere that you're racing, every track is different, surface type is different, and what's popular could be different. Obviously, two-wheel drive short course, or four-wheel drive short course for that matter, on a world scale, unfortunately is kind of like a declining class that not many people run much anymore. But if that's the case in your area and two-wheel drive short course isn't that popular, I highly recommend getting into like stadium truck, something around any kind of like two-wheel drive truck type class is going to be your best bet. I would exclude two-wheel drive buggy, as that is a lot more sophisticated class and requires a lot more of the car setup stuff, and you really got to know what you're doing to have fun at all racing something like that. The beauty of this right here, so this is my two-wheel drive short course. This is my team associated vehicle. And the beauty of it is that naturally as far as short course goes, stadium truck's a little bit more forgiving. So honestly, stadium truck may even be number one on the list, short course truck being number two. The beauty of these are that the setups are not like the end of the world. When you're learning, when you go race, You know, after you have all your requirements electronic wise, all that good stuff, you're signed up, you're racing in a series, you have your transponder, everything like that. Yeah, once you have all that figured out, then you can slowly acquire the tools needed, the fancy stuff for car setup. And this is like the best platform, I feel like, to actually learn when it comes to, you know, setup. And then any class in general will teach you about tires. I mean, now tires, whole nother subject, but tires is, I would say, at least 90% of your car setup. Especially with a truck or something like this, if you're on the right tires for the track surface and you're out there, you're not going to have any problem at all. You will just keep bettering yourself as a driver until basically at one point you'll be fast enough where the equipment starts holding you back. So from that point, the beauty of these is they don't need much maintenance. They don't need much tuning. You know, you start with something like this and you learn how to set it up. You know, whether it's your ride height, your camber, shock positions, all that good stuff, your toes, everything. And that's basically it. There's nothing like that drastic when it comes to these that you really are going to make or break your day per se. Like I said, tires are everything, number one. So any tips I have for any new kind of racer is just get in there, start racing, get yourself a two-wheel drive truck. If you want to build it your first time, by all means, I highly encourage it. If full-blown mechanics aren't your thing, something like, you know, vehicles like these aren't going to require a whole lot of maintenance, so and setup and all that. So it's really the, you know, best bet for somebody getting into the hobby, wants to have a fun experience, and you know, stuff like that. Now, ironically, my club that I'm in actually offers a carpet series for the wintertime. So depending on how crazy you want to go, this is what I would recommend for somebody really trying to get into racing. If all you had was a Traxxas Slash, like a brushed Traxxas Slash, my club in particularly runs them all winter long, a brushed two-wheel drive Traxxas Slash on the carpet. So not only do you not have to worry about really cleaning the vehicle and all that, you actually just, you have to run the spec tires and everything. So if you really just want a more positive experience getting into it, there are events and clubs that race stuff like that where it's very family oriented, very club friendly environment where everyone's just there to race and you're learning tips and tricks along the way. And like I said, whether it's carpet, whether it's dirt, whether it's clay, I mean, there's so many different possibilities that you guys can all be racing. So like I said, check with your local club, see what they're actually running. And, you know, if you were somebody that was like a hobbyist or was into bashing and all that and wanted to start racing and all you had was Traxxas, see what you can do with that. I mean, that's, you know, still a two-wheel drive short course, requires even less maintenance than a kit vehicle. And, you know, at least you're out there and you be able to pretty much find out rather quickly the differences, whether you actually race in something like that or you go into a more higher scale type racing environment or a more competitive club that actually you'll see why you'd want a kit. And then from there, you can kind of build a kit and then you just keep moving up in the hobby. And as you learn, then you can progress to, you know, four-wheel drive buggy, four-wheel drive short course. You know, once you have your trucks down, I recommend going to the buggy classes and then so on. So, and then next thing you know, you're an 8th scale. So once you're like familiar with the equipment and all that, this stuff can obviously be rather costly, fast, especially if you have nothing to start out with. So yeah, guys, that's basically what I would recommend. And I just want to see more people out there on the track and, you know, having a good time. So yeah, guys, quick little wrap up for you. Make sure you guys have a half decent remote, RTR, whatever you're going to do. Of course, what I recommend personally is get a kit vehicle, get something half decent where you can bind more vehicles to as you get into the hobby and can expand your classes so you're not also sitting around all day. Number one key points, to take from this video: get yourself a good remote and receiver setup so you can grow. Make sure you guys have the right tires on your vehicle for the track that you're going to be running at. Ask around different compounds, all that. We can get into all that kind of stuff on later videos. Bring yourself a bunch of tools, your average stuff, your average metric hexes and stuff like that to work on the vehicle in between races if you have to fix something or you got to tighten something up. Make sure you guys have the correct battery in your vehicle that you're running at that track. Make sure you guys have the correct transponder that correlates with the track's timing system. And, a lot of tracks, you can rent them from the track. So if you wanted to try it out, you can bring your RTR stuff even and slap in a rental and get out there racing and go experience it for yourself. Like I said, depending on how budget allows and how, heavy you really want to invest into the hobby, I think I encourage everybody, I'm pretty sure everyone should at least give it a shot. See if you like it or not. I mean, maybe it's not for everybody, but I really think the mass majority of people are too intimidated in the hobby to start racing and, don't want to look silly or something. So I hope this video did shine some light on that and give you guys some more motivation to actually get out into the track, because 2 years ago, guys, I was on spec tires out on a loose terrain track with a ready to run car from 2007. So yeah, and obviously I've learned a lot in 2 short years. So I'm trying to shed some light on, that kind of thing, because I was very short ago that guy who had no idea what he was doing. So I wanted to shine some light on that, and don't be afraid and don't be scared to ask questions, stuff like that. Like I said, controller, the right tires, the right batteries, the right transponder that correlates with their timing system. Get out to your local club, get out to your local hobby shop, wherever you can run and support your vehicle's parts, etc. Just want to see more people into the hobby and be less timid and shine away from it. I think this hobby is slowly picking back up in growth again, and it really should. It's a great place, and everyone's always willing to help you. So even when I was clueless, I had several people at the club, give me a helping hand or give me the correct tires to use that they had extras of that was at least better than what I had. So, everyone's always out to help. Don't be shy. Everybody's generally really amazing in this hobby. And get out there, go out there and race. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please drop it a like. Any other video suggestions you guys want me to do, any kind of RC discussions or tips and tricks, anything you guys want to know, please leave it in my comment section. If you have any other questions of maybe something I missed or didn't touch on, like I said, leave it down below. Make sure you guys subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of my traveling and racing and everything, all this crazy stuff we're doing, along with tips and tricks and little helpful videos like this for you beginner guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. Peace out.